So good afternoon, everyone. So today we will talk about an issue that's around an enterprise. So our group will include Hoài Bảo, Tuyết Nhung, Thu Phương, Gia Linh, and me, Hoàng Nam. We are from Hoa Sen University. So for our table of content, we include the answer for 5 questions. So I will begin with the question 1. What enterprise must you do to start business in Vietnam, and which state agency that involved in handling dossier? So for first, we will choose the type of business entity depend on the legal structure. LLC, JSC or partnership, and then we will choose the company name which comply with Vietnamese regulation, and then we will submit all necessary and required document to the Department of Planning and Investment or the Business Registration Office, and then we will get the tax identification number from the local tax office and open a company bank account in Vietnamese local bank, and then register for social and health insurance, and then we have to get the necessary license and permit, for example investment registration certificate for foreign investor, and some permit for some specific industry like heavy industry, and then we have to register for labor use in the Department of Labor, Environment and Social Affairs. There are some state agencies that involved in handling dossier that include the Department of Planning and Investment or the Business Registration Office, and then the local tax authority and the local social insurance office, and then the Department of Labor, Environment and Social Affairs. So Miss Bảo will continue with the answer of question 2.
To continue our presentation, I will let's discuss the question 2, which cover individual step enterprise need to take before starting operation. So as displayed on the screen, there are 6 steps, case steps the enterprise need to take, and as follow. The first, register business. The second, obtain tax identification number. The third, acquire social insurance, and the fourth, register labor contract, and the fifth, ensure an environmental license if applicable, and the last, obtain business license for certain industry. So the relevant state agency in charge for each step are shown on the screen. Besides the state agency, the appropriate government agency will issue business license for specific industry such as banking and finance. And the next question will be handled by Nhung.
Thanks, Bảo. Moving on to question 3 is which state agency the foreign advantage enterprise need to report to during their operations. So on the screen, the relevant state agency depend on the enterprise activity in an industry. The first tax authorities regularly submit tax return and pay taxes. Second, social insurance by employees related insurance. The third, compliance with custom regulations if the enterprise engages in important or important activities. The fourth, Ministry of Planning and Investment report in investment activity and business operations. The next, submit periodic report on business activities and financial performance to the Department of Statistics. And then, depending on the enterprise nature, additional reporting may be required to agencies such as the Ministry of Industry and Trade, Ministry of Environment and Natural Research, or the Ministry of Health. And the next representation is food.
Moving on to the question number 4, I'd like to tell you about the procedure that foreign invested enterprise to close operation in Vietnam. First, obtain a resolution or decision to dissolve the company from the management or the shareholders. Secondly, inform the local Department of Investment in the Department of Planning and Investment or the Business Registration Office about the intent to dissolve. And next is public announce the dissolution in the local media. Then liquidate assets, settle debts, and distribute the remaining assets from the liquidation team. And besides that, make sure to apply a tax clearance certificate from the tax authority. And after that, submit a liquidation report to the Department of Planning and Investment or the Business Registration Office. And last but not least, receive a notice of the registration from the Department of Planning and Investment or the Business Registration Office, in officially removing the company from registry. And that's all I have to say about foreign invest enterprise procedure to close the operation in Vietnam, and my team member will continue with the last question.
And the next question is, can there be more than one legal representative in an enterprise, and is it legal to use multiple stamps of enterprises at the same time? There are 4 types of enterprises, among which only sole proprietorship are allowed to have only one legal representative, and the other 3 types, including joint stock company and limited liability company and partnership, are allowed to have more than one legal representative. And based on Article 43 of the 2020 Enterprise Law, enterprises have the right to decide on the form, quantity, and content of the sales. However, the sales must display the criteria of the enterprise name and business registration code, and therefore an enterprise can have more than one sale. So this is legislative practice and legal requirement for an enterprise to comply from opening to ending. So thanks for your attention to our presentation.
So congratulations for complete your presentation. So now do you want to have an easy question or hard question? Medium question. Very interesting. Okay, so I'd like to ask you a question about you mentioned about when you're closing out the business, they have to submit a lot of brochure to the authorities, right? So do you know the protocol of closing the business? For example, if the company have a lot of debts, for example, they have 1 billion payable to employee and tax payable 1 billion, 1 more billion for tax, 3 billion for trade payable, and also they have a bank loan and the bond, and of course the shareholder expected that after closing out the business, they will receive back the investment. So please share with us what they have to do to settle the debts and repay for the shareholders. Thank you. You had a full understanding of the question, right?
So the next
Yeah.
How many questions for a team? I think
Thank you for the question. And the next, please.
Hello team, I have a question. As a chief accountant, please state the accounting procedures that the chief accountant must do for the process of liquidation company. Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Xin cảm ơn câu hỏi đến từ vị ban giám khảo thầy Hòa vừa rồi. Và tiếp theo chúng tôi xin trân trọng kính mời các vị ban giám khảo tiếp theo đặt câu hỏi cho nhóm đầu tiên của chúng ta.
Hello team, thanks a lot for your presentation. And I have a question for you. Please listen carefully. If you fully meet criteria and condition as a chief accountant, is it legally to be appointed you as a chief accountant at the same at many company at the same time? Can you hear me? I suppose that you fully meet criteria and condition as chief accountant. Is it legally to be appointed you as chief accountant at the many company at the same time?
According to the Vietnamese law, it's the obligation that when closing the company has to settle each debt and obligation before distributing to each shareholder. However, in this case, all stakeholders want to receive back or benefit, including 1 billion debt to employees, tax payable, trade payable, and loan and the capital of investor. Our strategy of the company will be first, because the tax payable is the company debt to a tax authority, the company should settle first, and then the remaining assets are used to distribute based on following strategy that we will negotiate with creditor to balance the benefit of all stakeholders. That we can use some negotiation technique when we negotiation with them. For example, we will negotiation to reduce the debt to employee by 50%. That's to make sure that this is a win-win situation for all stakeholders. And then we will organize the meeting with all stakeholders. In this case, to relieve the tension of all stakeholders. And next we will sell all the company assets that to generate the cash used to pay down on debt and distribute to investor as well. And we will cut on costs as much as possible to have more cash to deliver to all employees, suppliers, and investor. So that is the answer for question. Thank you. So Miss Phương will answer question 2.
And I will answer the question to accounting procedure in liquidation from Mr. Hoa. According to Article 48, the law on accounting 2015, when liquidating, the company has to do the following: close the accounting book, inventory, assets, determining unpaid debts, and making financial statement. Open the accounting books to monitor economic and financial operations related to the dissolution or liquidation of operations. In the process of liquidation or dissolution of a foreign invested enterprise involves several steps, including the appointment of a liquidation board, notification of creditors, and distribution of assets. The foreign invested enterprise must also settle its tax liabilities and other obligations before the liquidation process can be completed. And the company will apply IAS 10 preparation of financial statements when an entity is no longer a going concern. In the entity that is no longer a going concern cannot prepare financial statements. And the financial statement must be prepared by reflecting estimated realizable value of the assets and liabilities. Assets are valued at their estimated NRV, net realizable value, and the liabilities are valued at the amount that the company expects to settle. Is my answer.
And I would like to answer the last question from Ms. Fu. In Vietnam, a person with sufficient experience, knowledge, qualified skill can work as a chief accountant for multiple companies, and this is legal at the same time. Yes. However, it depends on the condition and regulation of the law as well as the term in the employee contract. According to Vietnamese accounting law, a chief accountant is responsible for organizing accounting work, prepare and submit financial report, and complying with the accounting and tax regulation. The chief accountant must ensure that accounting is carried out with, in accordance with regulation and is accurate and transparent. In case of a person working as a chief accountant for multiple companies at the same time, they must ensure that they have enough time and capacity to perform their duty effectively, comply with law and regulation of each company. So therefore, although not prohibited, a person work as a chief accountant for multiple companies at the same time may not be the most optimal choice for their own career and also for the company. So this is my answer for the last question. Yes.